Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Inside Hollywood with Vinny. And today, she is born and bred in the beautiful, sunny Los Angeles. I'm jealous. She is an actress. She has a wonderful one-woman show. It's been touring for the last 2 years. And I know you've seen her online because I have for quite a while now. She is the one and only Nicole Travolta. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Oh, Vinny, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to be
Of
with us.
course.
But I really I've been following you for a while. And I always liked your content, so I wanted to introduce you to some of my people, and then we can introduce each other to each other's people.
I like this. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
That's right. That's right. Because my back doesn't get scratched nearly enough. But anyway, so again, I'm jealous, but I love it. I love introducing and talking to my people from the West Coast. You guys are awesome. You always have a very upbeat mentality.
Oh my gosh, really?
I think it's all the sun. You guys are getting a lot more sun than we do here on the East Coast.
It's
Um,
true. We do have a lot of sun, although was telling you before, today it's raining. So today we're in dreary rain together, but we love it. I just actually was reading something on Overheard LA about how people in LA, how we really don't know how to deal with the weather, and it's the truth. And take that wherever I go. So in New York, I was there and it started like a torrential downpour while I was walking. I was like, I literally don't know what to do. So I just get soaked or I just stay inside. Like plans get canceled. We don't do anything. And we all say the things like, we needed this rain. Like it's like we needed it. It's collectively exactly what we say every single time.
that is exactly what my mother says. She's she's from Italy, and she always says we needed this water. She says in Italian, but we always we need the water.
We need the
Things
water.
have to grow.
What part of Italy is she from?
So my parents came from Calabria, which is the
Wow.
very tip of the toe, and it's beautiful. I went there. I remember I went there for the first time in 2000, and my parents had moved back, and so it was like, was it crazy? It was like, wow, I actually seen how it was to be in a whole other world. Beautiful, beautiful. And the beauty about this in the south of Italy is that it's really relatively untouched. It's not
Yeah.
industrialized as much as the north, so you really see authentic, Italian things there.
I love it. I mean, I want to explore so much more of Italy, but I love Europe so much. And Italy, I actually got to do my show in Milan earlier this year, and it was amazing. Even though I know people are like, "Oh, it's more city," and it's not. There's not as much of that. I don't know, like there. It's just different. It's more city-ish, but I loved. I love it. I just think it's just such a great place and the culture and everything. So
I always said, there's not a bad inch of the boot. Like there's always something beautiful and amazing.
yeah.
In Europe in general. I mean, I don't want to just be so biased about Italy, but I mean, Europe in general. I mean, like, how could you not be impressed by seeing something that's like 1,000 years old, or
It's
even more?
so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I mean, everywhere you go, and then if you go, over to the islands, they're amazing. I mean, it's just magical.
First thing I noticed when I was there was like how slowly people walked, and I was like, at first it was a little annoying. I'm like, why are these people taking so long to walk?
Yeah.
Or so we're used to always being hustling and. But you're right, and everything shuts down at 12, and everybody goes home and eats and relaxes. I'm just like, this is bizarre, but it's like this is the way to live.
It's true. I mean, everyone, even during the week, if you see people just out in the streets having lunch, everyone's having a glass of wine or they're having like you sit down, you have a coffee. Here, we're always taking things to go, ordering takeout, ordering food to go, eating on the go. It's a whole different life. It's so, I love immersing myself in Europe. It's just the best.
And I have to say it, and I'm sorry, but their complexions, their skin, their bodies are just different. They're just eating natural, good stuff.
Well, it's true. And also because I think a lot of our issues here, I mean, I don't quote me on any of this, but I mean, I think I'm pretty positive that a lot of the issues here are a lot of it is of our food and what we're eating. And then to eat anything clean and natural, it's so expensive. And it's crazy to me. I'm not condoning smoking, but people are like smoking cigarettes there and their complexion is like perfect and it's wild. I'm like, what are we doing wrong?
A very big lesson to learn out there. But let's get back to you. So you're an actress, obviously. You're so creative. I love your all your content online, especially Instagram. So again, if you're not following, make sure you are following Nicole. We're going to have all the links in the description box, so make sure you're supporting her. But how did you get started with kind of just wanting to be creative, being an actress, being online?
So it's very cliche. I've wanted to do this my whole entire life. And it never went away. My parents, I grew up in the entertainment industry. It's basically all I ever knew on my mom's side and my dad's side. And I wanted to do this since I was a little girl, and they were sort of like, no, I did things when I was young, but they didn't want to be, I think, more, being protective of me, but also, sort of didn't really want to be stage parents either, dragging me to auditions and all of that. So the dream stuck. And when I want to say like was I 16 or 17? 17 years old, I booked my first television job on the show One Tree Hill, which got me my SAG card. And then I went on from that, not immediately, but as time went on, I, was able to land guest spots on The Secret Life of the American Teenager and Hawaii Five-O. And then I was sort of trying to figure out where I fit in the industry. And I had this sort of idea that I would be more or less like someone on, Gossip Girl or something like that. And a very dear friend of mine who's a casting director, his name is G. Charles Wright. I took a workshop of his, and he pulled me aside after, and he was like, you have really wonderful comedic timing, and he's like, you really should lean into that. And I listened to him, and so I did. And from there, I ended up sort of taking a shift in sort of what I wanted, and I think I started sort of dropping into what I was actually really good at, and that led to guest spots on Two and a Half Men and The Middle, and then I got a recurring role with playing Charlie Sheen's girlfriend on Anger Management, and that really changed sort of the trajectory of where I was going. And then when COVID hit, everything sort of changed. I felt like the business was really sort of shifting, and I had been taking classes at the Upright Citizens Brigade, which is UCB, and then I got into the Groundlings. And I remembered just how much I loved playing characters as a kid and sort of doing impressions of my family, and so I really leaned into that, and I started just throwing things out online. I have a ridiculous wig collection of like 80 something wigs. I know it's a lot, but they really do. They're like my babies, and I just started being as consistent as I could with it. And I have such joy in, for me, it's really characters. It's not really as much, I wouldn't say stand up. I'm much more, I think, of a storyteller, and have a love for characters. But it really just sort of spiraled into something even more creative, and I felt like I had control over my creativity, which is so important because oftentimes you're driving to an audition or now on Zoom or putting yourself on tape. You don't even know where the tape is going or if it's getting seen. And so it really sort of shifted my life. And then I had this idea for a show based on some tough, difficult times of my life, but that are also lent itself to a very funny story. And I wrote a one-woman show, and that opened in 2023 at the Groundlings. And then I got to tour it for like 2 years, and then I did a little trial off Broadway, and now we're going back off Broadway in the spring for 6 weeks. So that's kind of my journey in a nutshell.
Well, congratulations! I mean, that's a lot of work, but that's also that's very exciting.
Thank you.
So now, how was the whole process? I know, I'm sure you make it probably makes it sound a little bit easier than it really is, but I mean, how it's there's a lot of heartache when in that type of business. There's a lot of rejection. But as long as you have the perseverance, which sounds like you definitely do. I mean, what were some of the ups and downs? Were there times where you really were just so frustrated you just wanted to give up, or was there anything that really anybody that maybe took you under their wing or kind of really helped to encourage you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's brutal. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's brutal. And the question that you have for yourself, I mean, sometimes I'm like, what? Why? Why didn't I just want to be, I don't know, just something stable, anything that has like sort of that stability. Because I think what people really don't prepare you for is that not only people are like, you have to have a thick skin for rejection, but there's also this life of where you're sort of living with one foot off the ground all the time. And that you have to almost live, like enjoy it and not, I don't want to say, you kind of have to not be afraid of it and just keep going. There have been many times since I've been in this industry, I've been through two writer strikes, and that really shifted the industry, where then the come up of reality television started happening, which shifted a lot of the scripted stuff. And then now I was so fortunate to work when commercials on national television were a really big deal, and guest stars, you could pay your, if you were lucky enough to get them, you could pay for your life with them because you get residual income. And now we're in this whole other world of a guest star on a streaming, which is basically everything that we watch doesn't pay residual income. And so I've seen and been through all these different legs of the industry. And after I had all of that success on television, I went through a lot of personal trauma and just sort of having to figure out life. I went through a divorce and really had to sort of pick myself up again. And when that happened and I wasn't okay, everything sort of stopped. And I think that's also the thing too, is that I think a lot of people, celebrities and people in the industry will come out and talk about things like that, where they've sort of fallen off track, and it completely affects your ability to even be able to work. Because when you're depressed and you're auditioning, it's almost like coming off as desperation and not the joy of it, if that makes sense. But to be honest with you, I mean, I've had so many wonderful casting directors really take me under their wing. When I got worked on anger management, that whole Charlie Sheen, that whole crew really changed the trajectory for me of my life. And I was only supposed to be one episode. They wrote me in for multiple episodes. And then this show, doing my one woman show, and my co-writer and director at the time, Lauren Burns, who's a director at the Groundlings, really was like, you have to do this. You must keep going and you must do this. And that's really been the thing that I think where I've been able to sort of create my own team around me and people who believe in it and believe in sort of turning this into, more of a brand as opposed to just a show, that they've really helped me soar into this sort of next phase of what I feel like my career is, which is not ever what I expected. So I feel like you really have to be like open to whichever way it could go, because you never really know. You know what I mean? Like if I think about my younger self, I think about the girl who would die, to be just like, I didn't want to do social media or anything like that. I just wanted to audition and work. And now that sort of has shifted.
Yeah, few things that you mentioned there too, and going through like traumatic things or things that are devastating or just depressing your life. Unfortunately, the show must go on, right? The cliche. So the beauty of becoming, when you're a creative person too, you kind of need those things to happen, those big up and downs. Unfortunately, you have to go through them, because then I think it gives you a lot of color and a lot of experience that you then can use when going forward in your life as an actress or as a filmmaker, or as a writer.
I
And
totally
having those people around you, like you said, the director, and having those people around you, somehow you find those people that'll help guide you to the next level, or at least get you through a bad patch.
I totally agree with you. I think that having life experiences is what really gave me my show. Is that if none of the things that had happened to me, if they hadn't happened, I wouldn't have the show, but also I wouldn't be who I am today. And that is a person who a lot of my things are like self-love and loving myself, and instead of looking for love in other places. And I was really able to sort of use that and hone in on that. And not only did I get to create a great show, but it's really cathartic to me. You know, you get to use things. I just saw this interview with Jennifer Aniston when she was talking about doing the movie The Breakup and how she had just went through her divorce and how those scenes you could like feel that pain so deeply. And I think that unfortunately you go through those things, but as an artist you can really dig and use those things, which makes it so emotional for the viewer or emotional for your audience because they can feel they're going on that sort of journey with you, as a, you know what I mean, as opposed to when you're younger and you haven't gone through a lot and you're sort of pulling from these tools that you have as opposed to real life.
Oh, I agree. I mean, even that reminds me of Mickey Rourke when he played in The Wrestler, and there's that one scene with his daughter where he's like breaking down, and it's so genuine. And then later on, I found out that he was using something from his own life that he used for that scene. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, there is beauty in things that are devastating. As ironic as that is. I mean, I do some screenwriting. I've written a few. I've done a few movies, and I use my own sort of things that I've went through, and some of those pains, and those and some of the laughter and high points. But that's what makes great stories. That's what people really really need, and it's what's genuine.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. It's tough when you're going through it, and it's tough to have the mentality of like the show must go on, but if you can use it, it's special, you know?
So with what's going on now, you're doing the show. Are you still going on auditions? Are you still? I mean, I know things are changing, I know streaming and everything like that. But any goals? Anything that you'd like to achieve in the next few years? 3 years, 5 years?
Oh gosh. I mean, yeah. Yeah, so much. I mean, to be honest with you right now, yes, auditions, but also my show is super important to me. My next thing is we're going off Broadway to a theater called the Soho Playhouse in the spring, and we'll be there for 6 weeks. And I really want, my dream would be to turn this show to develop it into a television series. That would be my ultimate dream. But other than that, I really just want to continue to build my brand. And I think coming with that, like producing my own things, writing another show. I'm open to, maybe it's doing a podcast, maybe it's I land a movie or a television show, or maybe it's all of it. I really am like trying to Reese Witherspoon my life.
Well, I'm starting to realize, like, for my own stuff, I want to start to do, which there's like 3 or 4 projects going on all at once. But one of the things I'd like to start doing too, which I will be doing, is making 3 5 minute episodes, put them online, because it seems like it's really catching on really, really quick. The short form content is really a big deal now.
Yeah, and I think like there's a thing with online that I think it's kind of dissimilar in my eyes as to doing an audition, is that we get really in our heads about the numbers, right? Like, oh my God, how many likes? Oh my God, how many views? And it's hard because it's a mind, it screws with your brain. But at the end of the day, I think the more you're putting out there, then the more people will see it. We're up against something called an algorithm. Like, what is that even? That is deciding things based on traction. I think that you have complete control over what you put out, and you just throw everything up against the wall until you feel like something is sticking, and you're getting to just put stuff out there. And what I love about it is that no matter what, no matter if the video is a huge success or it's just some people see it, you have this beautiful page of art that's yours which I think is such a that we didn't have, you didn't used to have that. It was all, you need a reel or whatever for you. You need your writing and show us your thing. And like now you have the ability to just lay it all out there, which I think is such a great thing. And I think you absolutely should do that. I think I love seeing people put their stuff out. I think it's fun, and I think it's consuming, and we're all just scrolling on our phones now, unfortunately.
I say it at least every day. I mean, I'm telling everybody the same. And I don't think I'm incorrect in saying it. Is that we're spending all our lives on our phones? I mean, it's a shame because these theaters are closing. But I mean, that's all it is. Everything's online. Everything's streaming. Everything's in your hand. So it's really
Totally.
hard to pretend that it's not. But that's where it's at, and you kind of have to adapt to it. I don't say I don't like it. I do love the days of cassette tapes and DVDs, and
Yeah, of
that's a whole other
course.
market that we've lost, financially too, as people that and I want to knock streaming networks because obviously they're very important. It's a big deal, but something has to change, I think, but here's the bright side. The bright side is people like you and I are out here, and we can just load this interview up, and we can go ahead and do something funny, and something will come to our mind, and boom, it's out there for the world to see within minutes. So it's the power, I think, is really in our hands at this
The
point.
power is also being connected with people online. Like if you wouldn't, this would have had to be set up through so many different lines of communication to be able to find, it's like, oh, I saw somebody I would like to interview. You have to call the agent. It's like there's a beauty of it, but I totally agree with you. I definitely still that's what kept me from putting stuff online for so long, is that I had this very old school mentality, I think, or old soul mentality, whatever you want to call it, about the difference of like going to an audition, booking a job, and then being on screen or a screening a movie. It's just everything is so much consumption. You can binge a television show in a day. You know what I mean? If so, it's all so different.
And I think the studios too. They have their. I think they're trying to scramble to do something with their what I think they're doing incorrectly, and some of them are good. But I'm not really a big fan of like rehashing and redoing a lot of these '80 movies. No offense, I mean, but you kind of like you can't get by on just redoing '80 movies. Well, you have to really start to be more creative or Marvel or whatever. But yeah, I think that's why they're getting their heads bashed in by the streaming networks because the if you right now if you could put together like you're saying like a great series that's bingeable, like you're in, you got the golden ticket because that's what people they have to consume something that's subscriber based that's going to keep them around for a long periods of time. That's really
Yeah.
what it is. Movies, you rent a movie, you buy a movie. That's what you want. You watch it once or twice, but when you binge and you're stuck on this one show, that's
Yeah.
really where it's at.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
Well, now we're going to have links, like I said, in the description box where we can find you. And please make sure that we are supporting Nicole and make sure you're sitting and reviewing and commenting and everything you could possibly do. But let's tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Nicole Travolta, and also on TikTok. That's also at Nicole Travolta.
Right. And I just want to, this has been a great interview. And I think that you've made my job easier because I don't have to edit too much of this because you're really good. So I'm very
Oh,
talented.
thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you so much for asking me. I love this. Just so people know, it's we started at 6:30. This is like our evening session. We're having an evening podcast, and I love it. I'm
Fantastic.
literally sitting in bed, and I'm sorry, it's very unprofessional of me, but I feel like it's nice to keep it casual.
Well, I don't want to give away too many secrets because I have this beautiful bed, but I'm sitting in bed too. It's no different.
We win.
That's right. We don't need to put on these airs. We know who we are and we're comfortable with
We're
who we are.
comfortable in our own skin. We're growing.
Well, listen, guys, make sure that you are supporting Nicole. If you haven't subscribed to me, please do, and stay tuned for more great content from Nicole. I know for a fact that you're going to be giving us a lot of great content in the future, and I hope you get that series because I think you definitely deserve it.
Oh, thank you so much. You put your stuff online now too.
Absolutely. Listen, I have to. It's a must.
It's a
All right,
mess.
guys. Again, you've been watching the very wonderful Nicole Travolta please, again, make sure that you're watching all her great content. Subscribe to me, and we will see you next time.